Oh, are we live? Right, okay. Please raise your hands if you can't hear me. Okay, let's get started. Welcome back, gentlemen, to our annual men's conference. As you know, since last year we have had to have our conference online, but the virus could never stop the boys. So without taking much of your time, allow me to introduce our first speaker of the day, Mr. Billius The Majestic. Yes, suspicious name. But he will be giving us a talk today entitled, Dude, That's Gay. And honestly, it couldn't have come a moment too soon, because I've personally noticed an epidemic of rampant gay behavior among us, and I for one am sick of it. Hopefully this young man will be able to set the record straight, so to speak, regarding this issue. And so without further ado, Mr. Majestic, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate your enthusiasm for my talk, although I must say it's probably not going to go the way that you expect it to.
Personally, I am all for free speech, so please do take it away.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Woo, free speech. I'm all for that as well. Okay, let's go. So let's start off by telling you guys a story. I'm going to tell you a story of a boy around 16, and this boy is hanging out with his friends at school. And so one of the bored boys decides, yo, let's play a game. And this game is called Who is Whose Gay Best Friend. And so what the boys do is they go around listing who in the group they think is which girl's gay best friend. And in all this time, our boy is completely silent. And then came his turn. Oh, he's everybody's gay best friend, one of the boys said, to the raucous laughter and fervent agreement of everyone else in the group. Now, in case you can't detect the subtle tone of bitterness in my voice when I tell you this story, I was that boy. And I'm still salty, Luca. Like, honestly, you may not have been all the way wrong, but you still hurt my feelings, you bitch. Anyway, reminiscing on these fond memories got me thinking about that word, gay. How do men use it among one another, and why? And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, which means that we're gonna have to talk about...
What is that?
How are you doing that? This is a Zoom.
I am so sorry, Mr. Chairman, but I'm gonna have to mute you for now because this is my time, so... So I was reluctant to say that, because it tends to be an immediate turnoff for so many people. Plus, honestly, social media and reality TV have completely ruined the word toxic for me, But it is interesting to me that so many men should be so turned off by this phrase, considering the fact that despite it being used by so many feminists today, it was in fact coined by Shepherd Bliss and the mythopoetic men's movement of the 80s and 90s, which was honestly a moment in time. Definitely worth checking out if you have any interest in gender politics, whichever way you lean. But anyway, according to my boy Wikipedia, the plug, the concept of toxic masculinity is used in academic and media discussions of masculinity to refer to certain cultural norms that are associated with harm to society and to men themselves. The socialization of boys in patriarchal societies often normalizes violence, such as in the saying, boys will be boys, with regards to bullying and aggression. You might be thinking, whoa, patriarchal, huh?
Oh my God, what is that?
And a lot of people don't actually know what patriarchy means, despite the fact that that word is being thrown around so often these days. So in the interest of transparency, let me define that one for you as well. Patriarchy, at least in this context, is a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. So, what does any of this egghead intellectual stuff have to do with gayness? Well, we need to ask ourselves, when we call a certain thing or behavior gay, what are we doing? What are we trying to achieve? This is the random realization that I had, and the whole reason I decided to make this video in the first place. Are you ready for it? The concept of gay behavior has little or nothing to do with actually being gay. How is that, you may ask? Well, for starters, the gay community isn't a monolith. They're a diverse collection of individuals united by a single aspect out of very many that make them who they are. Many gay men naturally fit the masculine ideal perfectly, to a point where you wouldn't even know a damn thing until they told you. So then, what's the point of calling certain tastes and behaviors gay? Well, I think it's to police and govern men's behavior, to make sure that their performance of masculinity fits the already existing social script that we subscribe to. Speaking of subscribing, do that, please.
I'm starting to see your point, but some of your terminology is a bit performance. What do you mean? Also, who are you talking to? How am I unmuted?
Gender performativity is a term first used by the feminist philosopher Judith Butler in her 1990 book, Gender Trouble. She argues that being born male or female doesn't determine anyone's behavior. Instead, people learn to behave in particular ways in order to fit into society. And I don't know about you, but it makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. Like, for example, what does a masculine baby act like? Babies just act like babies, right? I mean, the only thing that would make a baby masculine or feminine is the way that their parents chose to dress them. But okusalayo is just eat, shit, cry, repeat. You know what I'm saying? Until they start to learn the social scripts that are assigned to them due to the gender that they were assigned at birth. From dress to behavior to even interests. Girls do this, boys do that. Boys don't do this. Stop that. That is gay.
Hey, stop! That's gay!
I feel so sorry for Kevin Hart's son, but also not at all, because he's Kevin Hart's son. The problem is that these scripts, these roles, these performances have created generation after generation of men who are literally terrified of being seen as inadequate in their manhood. A man must be strong, emotionless, respond to any threat with force, with violence. This creates patterns of behavior that are harmful to us and the people around us. There is a reason why male suicide rates are so high, why the rates of violence against men by men are so high, why the rates of violence against women by men are so high. But that doesn't let the ladies off the hook, by the way. Most of us watching this video were mostly or completely raised by women who instilled some of these values in us, whether consciously or unconsciously. Not to mention the expectations placed on straight men by their potential romantic partners. Indota maibe wara wara watwa. And that's the tricky thing about patriarchy and other oppressive social systems, is that nobody is excused from its oppression and nobody is immune to perpetuating that same oppression onto others and themselves. Not even the woke ones. And that's why I hate the men versus women narrative when it comes to feminism. Because the reality is that it's all of us versus the patriarchy. Patriarchy harms us all, and we all perpetuate it in either conscious or unconscious ways. I mean, it harms women and femmes more, and that's very important to note, but it's not a competition, guys. Rest. We shouldn't be making enemies out of one another, for we fight not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. Woo! I just took y'all to church with that one.
Okay, Pastor, so what do you expect us to do? Like, how do you expect us to throw out ideas that we grew up with? What do you want us to do? You want us to all start painting our nails and planting herb gardens?
I mean, if you want to, but if you don't, that's cool too. as long as you let other people live. All I'm saying is we should stop enforcing cultural prescriptions that just straight up do not serve us. Not only that, but as Africans, a lot of these cultural conceptions were never even ours to begin with. Bringing it into a modern context, there are many subcultures in Africa like the Congo dandies or the Iskotani of South Africa, whose taste for tight-fitting luxury clothing and flair for the theatric may be seen as gay when viewed through a Western lens. And a lot of these guys are not guys you want to just go around calling gay.
Yo, personally, I almost got stabbed by a guy wearing a skin-tight Versace tracksuit. Imagine.
Damn, I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, why are we so invested in these arbitrary ass rules? Like, what have they ever done for us? Except to cause us to second guess our every instinct, to see ourselves through hypercritical eyes that are not our own, and to constantly look over our shoulders to see who's watching us doing what. I mean, there's men out there who are terrified of eating certain delicious and nutritious, well, delicious anyway, foodstuffs, all because they're afraid of how it will look. Like, if you think about it, it's absolutely ridiculous.
You know, I did turn around to see that my boy was watching me eat a banana, and I almost had a panic attack.
See? Exactly. We're living in a constant state of absolute anxiety over things that really don't matter. And it's so crippling and it's so sad.
But are you saying that men and women should be the same? That men should be more feminine and women more masculine?
I'm just saying that people should be free to be whoever they want to be. I'm saying that these roles we assign to each other are not only completely arbitrary, but while they may have served us in the past, they definitely cause us more harm than good now. We say we want to make men manly again, but I can think of nothing less manly than wanting to control the tastes, interests, and behaviors of other men. Like, except maybe letting society control your own.
Yo, you've definitely got a point there.
And it isn't to say that there's no room in the ideal society for the universally human traits that we code as masculine. Assertiveness, protectiveness, providing for your family, strength, resilience, all of that good stuff. I'm not here to lecture men and tell them that there's anything inherently wrong with being men. As long as we realize that these traits are traits that anybody can embody, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation, and as long as this masculine energy is channeled in positive and constructive ways. Not being like, this guy called my t-shirt gay, so I punched out 2 of his teeth. Nobody is right in that situation. Like, literally nobody wins. Except maybe the dentist. All I'm saying here, my brothers, my brothers, my brethren, Boputibami, is like what you like. Feel your feelings. Share your feelings with the people that you trust the most, and allow other men the space and the opportunity to do the same. And also mind your business. Like, how are you gonna get upset because you saw me eat a fruit? I'm over here out here trying to up my potassium intake, and you over here thinking about